I made the mistake of not recording the last one, but I'm not going to let that happen again.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining today. As you guys know, my name is Enzo Salgado. I am the lead developer here for the agency platform team. We also have here Will, who is the business analyst for the agency platform team as well. So any notifications, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot from Will. Yeah, today I do want to go over the agenda for the training. As we're diving a little bit deeper, we're going to be building off of what we did in the last training. So that first initial start of learning the platform. So we'll be building off of that. So if you guys have any questions on anything, in case you forgot from the last training, don't hesitate to ask, but we will be kind of starting with the expectation there's some knowledge there behind there. So today we're going to be going over just creating layouts. With those layouts, we want to be able to kind of add in custom blocks. So not just the blocks that we were adding in the last training, those one-time uses. I want to go over what it means to use a reusable block, something that can be used throughout your site. We're going to go over a little bit on responsive design, things that you could do there, and then we're going to get a little creative with those layouts themselves. To begin here, this is going to be a hands-on training. So I would ask you guys to, I'm going to send you guys a link to ask you to kind of follow along. You're going to sign into a website. This is going to be the login info. The username is going to be training user, and the password is password1234. Let me send you guys the link here in the chat. As well as, that's the link to the site itself, but here is the link to the actual login page. So I'll give everybody just a couple minutes here to log in. All right, everybody should be logged in now at this point. I'm going to share the site here. So once you log in, you'll notice, obviously, you'll see the member for 4 months here, and then you'll see the admin bar here to the left. These are things that we went over last training session, but we're going to go ahead and kind of breeze past the admin bar. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it at this point. So we are going to be jumping into creating layouts for new pages and stuff that we are creating. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to recap a little bit about just creating a basic page, because that's what we're going to start off with. If you're creating a landing page or just a basic page anywhere on your site and you want to manipulate the layout and kind of do some cool things with it, always start with the basic page. That's going to be your foundation for those type of pages that you want to create. So I am going to go to the content over here. I'm going to hover over add content and then go to basic page. So I'm going to title this page My Cool Page. I'm going to leave the body blank because I'm going to do some stuff with this layout. I'm going to add in my own text with individual blocks. So I'll just leave that blank there. I'm going to add it to the main menu. And then I am going to click save. I'll just keep all the defaults here. So now that I saved it, we have My Cool Page up here in the main menu here at the last one. So if you guys are following along, just while I'm kind of doing this next step, if you want to make your own, if you could make your own individual basic page, do that, name it whatever it is that you want, and then add it on to, add it as a child menu under My Cool page. So because we're going to be working with those today. We can go to that later. But continuing on here, obviously, I have my blank page now. And I'm going to want to jump into the layout section as we have been in the past, right? So in the last training, we went over, adding those blocks in the default layout that each basic page has. Now, the way that this is laid out, where we have the banner kind of region up here to the top, we have our title region, and then our body with a side navigation here. That's what we have as default for every basic page, but obviously we can go ahead and start removing some things in order to add in new regions for us to kind of take advantage of. But before we do that, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to add in a banner because I want that for this particular page. So just kind of recap of adding a block of information. I'm going to click on block here. I'm only going to use it on this page. So that's why I want to create just a custom block here. And then I'm going to add in a banner here at the top. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to title My Cool page. The description, I'm going to leave blank, and I'm going to leave the link there blank. I'm going to add media here. And I will select something that is already uploaded. Let's do this. Insert selected. And then for this banner page, I'm going to add in an overlay. So just recap from the last training. Yeah, when I add in that image overlay, it just puts a dark overlay over the image just so it can allow the text that's on the image or even the link button that you may do, it lets it stand out a little bit better. So I'm just going to add this block here. So now I got my banner image here created, and I'm just going to go ahead and save my layout. Does anybody have any questions as far as kind of going over what we went over last?
So for creating these basic pages, I've got mine, ready, but I can't find how to nest it under my cool page. I know you said to nest it.
Yes. So when you're in the edit section of your page, your basic page here, to the right, there's a menu settings. If you click on that and you check the boxes provided menu link, and then under parent link, you want to click on that, find My Cool page, and select that as the parent.
Oh, okay, thank you. I hadn't. That makes sense. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
I didn't have the provide a menu link thing clicked, so the other options weren't there.
Okay. There. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. So to continue on a little bit here. So now that we've kind of gone over, kind of what it was to kind of just create that basic page, refreshing our memory, add in a block of information, and we're starting with this new layout for this page that I want to do. Now, when I go to layout here, we want to go back to layout because we want to go in and we're going to start messing around with the default configurations here. So like I said, this is the default layout we have for basic pages. We have the ability to change that layout itself to match whatever you need for that particular page. Each page is independent of each other. So if you change the layout on one page, doesn't mean you're going to change the layout on another page. So just know that for basic pages, that layout is they're independent of each other. So just because I do certain things on here won't affect anything else. So the first thing I want to do is that for this particular page, I probably don't want to do I don't want to have this menu to the right. I'm going to have this be kind of standalone. I want to kind of mess around with some of the abilities that I have here. So I'm just going to get rid of this region entirely. So under where it says configure section 3, instead of clicking on that, there's a little X right here. If I click on that, I'm going to just remove this section altogether. So when I remove that section altogether, it removes those blocks that I created and any other columns that I had set up for that particular section. So just note, it is a powerful little thing right there where you're going to delete it. So just know that careful if you do it, just make sure that you have you either move blocks out of that region before you delete it, or you're just going to be okay with those blocks disappearing. So there are certain things that we can always pull back up. I can always pull back up that menu in case I want to recreate that, and we will go over that because we also want to be going over what it means to create a reusable block. So, like how we've been adding these blocks, there are also these buttons here, add sections. We kind of ignored that last training because we didn't want to mess with what the default is for those basic pages. But because we want to add in new regions or new sections, that's where we're going to be able to add in sections. So the more sections I create, the more buttons you'll see, because I can either put them between two sections that I have already been created, or I could just add it to the end of the list itself. Or you can even add it to the top of the page itself, below the banner or below the header. So, yeah, so you have to think of sections. Sections allow you to create a region with however many columns you want. And then within those column regions, you can put in that block of information. So you kind of think of it that way. Sections are just allowing you to create regions to put in blocks. So for this one in particular, what I want to do here is that I want to create a bootstrap. You'll see these different sections that you'll be able to choose. You can either do a one column section, which would look a lot like this one right above it. And then, or you could have as many columns as you're looking for. Right here, obviously, the number right here will indicate the amount of columns that you use. You want to select the bootstrap ones that you see here. In case you might be on another content type or you might be working on something else, you might see other layouts. Always choose to go for the bootstrap columns that are here. They're more versatile, and you're able to have a little bit more functionality along with them. So for this one, as an example, I'm going to click on bootstrap column 3. And then now this brings up this configurable section that I can choose. So within each section that you create, there's certain things that you can do to kind of configure what that section does. Up here at the top, you'll see boxed, full, and edge to edge. What that means is that with a boxed look, that puts white space on each side of that particular section. So kind of how we see throughout the website itself, there's white space to the left and right of the major content. However, if I wanted to do something that was edge to edge, it's going to do exactly what you think that sounds like. It will bring the content from the very edge of the page of the website to the very other edge of the page, the other edge of the website, from left to right. That's what this region up here does. So that's why when I put in that banner image, it goes all the way from the left to all the way from the right. There's no white space to the left or right of it. It is taking up the entire web page. So that's what edge to edge will do. And there's some things that you could do along with that will look cool, but just note that it's probably always best to kind of stick with boxed for the most part. It will line up the content with other content, but in case you do want that edge to edge look, you do have the ability to do that. And when you select edge to edge, you want to do no gutters. So that will bring it so it's true edge to edge. But we want to stick with the boxed and go with gutters. That will keep it everything aligned. And then down here, you will see these 3 different regions here, or 3 different sections. We're talking about desktop, tablet, and mobile. What this is indicating is that how do you want these columns that you're creating? Again, we selected a 3-column bootstrap layout. How do you want those columns to fit side by side on the different devices that people are using? So on desktop, do you want it so they're all equal? They're all 33%? Or do you want one region to be a little bit bigger here to the left where it's 50% and then 25-25. And then obviously there's other ways of how they formatted it. You go 25, 50, 25, they'll all add up to 100%. So for this case, I don't want to make it too complicated. I think I just want them all to be equal on the desktop view. So I'll select 33% for each column that we are going to be creating here. The same will go for tablet. However, whenever you select tablet stuff, always go and double check to see what it looks like on an actual tablet if you have access to one, because you might want to change that up to 100%. But for the most part, what I'm noticing is that, you know, usually on the tablet, it should still look pretty good with 3 columns side by side next to each other. And then lastly, on mobile, I would definitely always kind of just stick with 100%. You could try stuff that's going to be side by side, but we usually, even if it's 2 columns, the content is going to start really squishing. When you get to your phone itself and you're trying to look at content, you usually just want to stack them on top of each other. So I'm going to select 100% here. So what that means is that it's taking each of those 3 columns, we'll stretch them to be the size of just 1 column and then stack them on top of each other. So, and we'll take a look at exactly what that does here. So now that I have those settings set, I'm going to click on Add Section. So as you can see here, it has now added this new section that allows me to put in blocks of information in 3 different columns. Does anybody have any questions on that, on creating a section itself? Okay. So now that I have this new section created, the 3 columns side by side, I can start adding those blocks of information. So I'm going to add in a block in each one of these columns. So just like how we were doing in the other, in the first training, I'm just going to create a one-time use block here. I'm going to do a basic block. So here, I'm just going to throw in some text. I'm going to grab a lorem ipsum generator. Again, this is a great one. Going to go back to my block, add in this text, and add this block here. As you can see, I added it into the first column, and I will do the same here. And I will do the same here. All right, so now I have these texts side by side with each other. And when I start to go to different devices, they're all going to either stack on top of each other or stay side by side, depending on what you want to do. Obviously here, I'm kind of just using basic text here to show off this functionality. But of course, with that, like with any region where you can add blocks, you can add in whatever blocks you see fit. So if you wanted text side by side, that's how you do it with this. If you want images, you could do that as well. If you want to do text with slideshow, that's an ability that you could do as well. So there's things you can play around with. Some things will look better than others on a smaller, narrower columns. So just kind of be aware of that, play around with what looks good. And then obviously you can always move things around between columns here. So as an example, I'm just going to throw in one more block here. So we'll just call this question 1, body, and then question 2. On some body, add this block. That adds it to this one in particular. But of course, you could just easily move things around however you see fit for this particular layout or page that you're creating. So now that I got some blocks of information in there, I'm just going to go ahead and click Save Layout. So as you can see here, these. Now that I saved the layout, I now have my 3 columns side by side. And then each of those columns obviously has the text and information, and it also has this accordion items that I created. And again, you can kind of mix and match, move things around wherever you feel is going to look best there. Any questions on that in particular, creating this region?
So you could do that if you, for example, created blocks with just the image. You could theoretically just have images show with like the words on the image then, and that would be the whole block?
Yes, for the image itself,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, I think I was doing it wrong when I was trying to earlier.
Yeah, and there's some things to kind of be aware of when you do images. Some like the image block, I believe it's something we want to improve upon. But I believe it automatically squares everything off. So in case you had, let's say you had some communications thing where they gave you maybe a rectangular picture that you wanted to share, it may cut some stuff off that you need. So there's ways that you can go around that by just adding it into a body of a basic block, so it shows up the whole thing, and then you could do that side by side with each other. In case you have other images that are the same size, so kind of it'll look good within those three columns. But there's definitely ways to play around with to kind of get the kind of look that you're looking for. Yes, Delir.
So the page that you created, it doesn't have the right menu. So with ours, there is a menu, and the blocks are underneath the menu. Is there a way to put them on the side, or how that works? Maybe you can check our page under the My Cool Page tab.
Sorry, could you say that again? Like the
So,
I guess
no.
Are you asking how to put the menu system back in there?
Yeah, on your page.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll go over that here. Before I get to that, Delir, I just wanted to make sure. Does anybody else have any questions on what I did in particular here?
Yeah, when you were creating the blocks, like the accordion, it shows the questions at the top now. Are you able to do an accordion so they would show at the bottom of the text block? Like, it looks like you put them at the bottom, but now they're up at the top.
Yeah. So for that, I mean, the accordions themselves are a separate block, so I can kind of move this around however I want. So because of these are 2 separate blocks, I can drag and drop them either above or below. So for example, if I want the accordions to go below, I just move the text block up above it, and then it pushes the accordions
gotcha.
down. So, and then if I want to move it to the middle, I can move to the middle of this one here. So there it is. And then
Sorry, I missed the drag and drop. I've been trying to screenshot things and then like put them into a Word document so I can go screenshot by screenshot by screenshot later and not bug you guys. I must have missed that part. Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as you can see here, I saved it. Now it's under this area right here.
Okay, cool.
There is an ability to add accordions within a basic block within the WYSIWYG. They can get a little cumbersome doing that. I recommend just using the accordion block to kind of create those things, but just in case you do run into that in the WYSIWYG. Okay, so I'm going to jump in, and Delir, I'm going to go over kind of like what you're talking about. Well, what happens now that the menu, the sub navigation is broken? How do I go ahead and fix that? So for that one in particular, like I said, we can add in those things that we just deleted. So for here, I want to add in a section that's going to be between this top title region and the body region here. So I'm going to do the bootstrap 2 columns. I'm basically recreating what was in the default in case I deleted something and I didn't like what it looked like after I was done. So I'm going to click 6733 here to the left. I'm going to add the same to the tablet and then 100% to mobile. I apologize that these things are kind of stacking on top of each other. That's something we're going to fix. It's just a style issue with the with this component that we're using, or this module we're using. So I'm going to add in this section. So I added back in that two column section, again, mimicking what we had for the default. And then I want to throw back in that that menu system, the sub navigation. So I'm going to go back to so instead of going to create custom block, because the menu system already exists, I don't want to create something new, nor would you be able to create a menu block within this this menu. What I want to do is actually want to search with what's already built into the site that I can take advantage of. So when I scroll down here, you'll see things like content fields. You don't need to worry about that unless you want to get really advanced with things. And then we have custom. Custom, we're going to go over here in a second, but that will be when we create a reusable block and we want to use it in multiple pages of the site itself. That's where you'll go to find that particular block. And then, but for this one in particular, I want to scroll down to menus. So menus will be all the menus that you have on the site itself. I'm not sure why these are repeating. That might just be a little bug right here, but I'm going to click on main navigation. So once I click on main navigation, I can set what that menu is going to look like. So for this page in particular, I don't want to do the initial visibility to be 1. That means it's top level. It will just repeat the main menu that's at the top of every page and we'll put it into this block. So instead, what I want to do is that I want to keep it to level 2. That means that I am taking a look at all second level menu items here. And I'll show you exactly what that means once we post this. And then other ones I'm going to leave as default, number of levels to display, unlimited, and then expand all menu links. Make sure, and then click add block here. So now that I added that in here, there's one more thing I want to do. And this is something that it's a style issue within our platform that we're going to be improving upon. But one thing I need to add in here, because I accidentally deleted this region, I need to go back in and make sure I'm adding the style for that sub navigation, because or else it's going to look just kind of like a list of links. So I want to go back in and do that here. And I'm going to add in the column 2 classes. I'm going to add in sidebar here. That's just adding a style class in there. So make sure it still looks consistent with the rest of the site. But I'm going to go ahead and click save layout here. And when I do here, it brings back that menu system that is there. Delia, did you have anything in particular that I didn't cover that you still had questions on?
No, I think, yeah, that's good. That's how it is. But now everything is pushed down. So if the menu items are maybe 5, 10, then everything will be pushed down and there will be nothing on the site unless you put a content on that.
Yeah.
Next to, okay.
Yeah, so once you do that, then you start taking a look at, okay, so how do I want to restructure this content? Obviously, it's creating this blank space here. So there's ways of doing it, obviously. So where if I go back to that layout itself, maybe you want to move one of the blocks of text that we created up one level, or maybe we'll just add in one more block here. So let's just create a custom block here. We'll do some text again. And then throw in that lorem ipsum we had, and I'll make it shorter. And then I'm going to add the block. Going to go click Save Layout. And then now that block of text is in here. It minimizes, obviously, that white space that's there. And then you can fill up the gaps there. But that's how you go do it. Obviously, I could have dragged up one of the blocks that we have below, or I could have added an image, maybe look a little better. But there's things that you can definitely go around and play around with.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, really quick, and I apologize. I caught most of that. I'm trying to figure out how you would add that in, though. Like, what did you click there under layout originally to get to that DK page, TPC toolkit, like to recreate that navigation panel? I know, you do the level 2, but how did you get that back there again?
Yeah. So
I just didn't see where you clicked originally.
yeah. So when I added in that block, instead I don't click on create custom block. I know that's what we've been doing, obviously, to create those blocks of information. Instead, I went down to the menu section that's down here, and I selected main navigation because that's the navigation that I am posting here on this particular page.
So that's how you get that to show up, because it's just going to show everything that's nested under that when you select those additional levels then.
Yes.
Okay, now I got it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you for showing the CSS. That was one of my issues.
That was one of your issues? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, where did it go?
Yeah, that's where you're going to be able to kind of throw in some classes and stuff like that. There's like a bunch of different ways to go about doing it, but yeah, but that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, I just fixed it. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. So, now that we kind of got a basic understanding of those creating those new layouts or new sections, what I want you guys to do is that we're going to do a little bit of an exercise here. So I'm going to share this. What I want everybody to do, I know you guys have already created those basic pages, and I want you to kind of work off of that. So in case you haven't created those yet, this will be your opportunity to create those, the basic page. But what I want everybody to do is to create a basic page. The title can be whatever it is you want. You don't put anything in the body. And then I want you to add it so it is nested under my cool page. Click save. And then you're going to go into the layout of that basic page you just created. Remove the body block, remove the menu block, and then at the bottom of the page, click on that add section, and then create a section with 3 columns. You're going to want to select that bootstrap 3 columns, and then add 1 basic block in each of the columns. You can use, you can put whatever you want in there. So I'll give everybody about 5 to 10 minutes to do so. Let me know if you guys have any questions or run into any issues. All right, we have about a few more minutes here. You should be about halfway done. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
Yeah, when you say remove a body block, do you just mean like any random block?
No, so when you in this when the default layout, when you first did it, when you first created that basic page, there is a block that's called body that's sitting in there. It is in the it should be in section 3 for the default. It should be in section 3. The
placeholder for body field.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry, I was looking for something like just said like body block, so I was confusing myself. Okay. And the menu will say something similar too, like that. I'm just not seeing it on my page.
The menu. Sorry, say that again.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just not seeing a menu anywhere.
Oh, that should be right next to where that placeholder for that body block was. There should be a placeholder that says menu, like placeholder for menu.
I think it must have. Okay, I think I probably just deleted it with the original one.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Is it okay if I deviate a little bit just to kind of replicate what I'm trying to do on our site?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to jump back over to the site. Make sure I save my layout that I was working on. I'll refresh here. See that you guys already started adding some pages underneath it. Does anybody have, as far as any questions on creating those 3 columns?
No, but when we are adding like text or whatever into there, how would we link it?
When you say link it, what do you mean by that?
So like, I put, mine's a little different. I put the image blocks in there. So I have like nutrition with an image underneath, relaxation for relaxation, like a relaxing image of the beach underneath. And I would want people to be able to click on the image or tap it on their cell phone, and then it will take them to the page on that topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that one in particular, we don't have the functionality, at least for that image block. There's ways to do it if you put it into the a basic block and you put the image in the little text field that's there. Then you can kind of do it that way. But there's also some other ways that you might want to consider for that as well. And we'll go over that here in a second, and I'll show you guys that.
Oh.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, so what I want to do next is that now that we're kind of getting a little bit comfortable with kind of creating those regions to be able to put the text block in there, the next thing I want to do here is that I want to go and show you guys how to create a block that can be used for multiple pages itself. So what I want to do is that, I want to make sure. Yeah. So instead of how we've been doing things where you go to layout, you go to add a block of information here, and then you're going to create, and then you click on create custom block. Instead of that, what I want you guys to do is that in the left-hand navigation, one second, sorry. In the left-hand navigation, under the structure section, which is this second icon that's here, under block layout, you're going to add custom block, where it says block layout, add custom block. Actually, instead of clicking on add custom block, let's click on custom block library, just so I can show you guys this first. So once we click on custom block library, what I'm seeing here are a bunch of reusable blocks that have been created that I can go ahead and start using. So there's certain card sets in here that I could use. There's banners that I can use on multiple pages that are all the same. So if I change it one place, it changes for all those particular pages. So this is where reusable blocks will come in handy, because you could use something like a reusable banner that's used for an entire section of your site. So, and if you change it one place, you want to change it for all of those pages, you can do that by creating a reusable banner and then placing it on those individual pages themselves. So you have your list of all of the blocks that you're creating. In the top right corner here, you will see this big blue button that says add custom block. We're going to do that to create a reusable block. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can create whatever type of block that you want. What I'm going to do is that I am going to create a card set. So I'm going to go ahead and click on card set. It's going to be very similar to maybe how you create a card set on an individual page. Obviously, we have a little bit more screen real estate here since we're creating this through the admin menu. But I am going to create one here. Just going to work just the same. I'm going to make it so it's 3 columns. Actually, before that, under the block description, you want to give it a good name. Don't use the default like you may have been doing in the past. You want to give it a name that you're going to remember to what exactly it is, because it's being used and put into the library, you want to be able to kind of know exactly what that block is. We don't want to call it card set, because if you just look at that, you're like, well, what is that card set of? So for this one in particular, I'm just going to call it My Cool Card Set. I know that it's for the My Cool section of the website, so I'm going to stick with that. And then I am going to create 3 cards here. So the first one, let's just call this card 1. I'm going to add in media. Scroll down here. Let's add in these brownies. For this one, I'm going to link it to the About page. So once I select About, I can type in whatever basic page that I want. So once I start typing that in, it will pull it up of where all those interior pages that I can link off to, or even any particular content that you want to link off to, you can do that. Or if you wanted to go to a outside source, you could do that as well. You just have to make sure you do that https // google.com, something like that, if you wanted to go on an outside source. But for this one in particular, I do want it to link to an internal pages. So I'm going to just go and do the About Us page. So click About, and in the link text, that link text means that means it's going to be the button that appears for these cards. So it's just the text that's in it. So I'm just going to put Learn More in there for now. And under body, again, I'm going to throw in this Morm Ipsum, but I'm going to shorten it up a bit. It doesn't need to be this long. Copy it. And then I am done with that first card. So I'm going to make 2 more real quick. So body, again, I'm going to want it to be the same. Text, let's say this will go to the Contact Us. Link text, Learn More. and then add media. Let's select this other brownie. Insert selected. And add in one more card. Actually, I forgot to put the title in that last one. Let me do that. Card 2. Let's go down here. Card 3. Add in another brownie image. I will link this to about a landing page here. Landing page 2. Learn more. And then I will throw in this body again, and we should be good to go. So I have my 3 cards created. I'm going to go ahead, scroll down here, click save. And I have now added my cool card set into the custom block library. So now that's available for me for when I'm building pages. I can keep using that same card set on multiple pages. So now that that's there, I'm going to go back to the home page. I'm going to go to my cool page. I'm going to add this block in here. So I'm going to go to layout. Where I want to add it is I'm going to add it under, I'm going to add it into this region. So when I click on add block, like I said before, what we're going to do is that we're going to scroll down to the custom section, and then I can look for what I titled my cool card set, which is this one right here. Before I click on it, I do want to show you that if you know exactly what that title of that reusable block that you created, again, that's why you should name it something memorable so you know exactly what you'd be looking for. And when you use it, I could just type in my cool card set and it pulls it up right here. So it's kind of just a quick way to kind of search through all those things so you don't have to scroll down and look for it. If you know exactly what it's called, you can search for it right there and pull it up. So I'm going to click on my cool card set. I'm going to leave all this stuff blank. And add it in here. And here's my card set that I created. Looks good to me. I'm just going to go ahead and save it. Looks good. There's probably some things I could do here with spacing, and I'll go over that here in a bit. And then obviously now that's a reusable card that I could use on different pages. So I could even use the same block on the page again if I wanted to. So if I go to layout and let's just throw in one more section in here. I'm going to do something simple. I'm going to add a section. It's going to be one column. Use the defaults here. Add that section. I'm going to add in this block of information. So add block. And I'm going to search for my cool card set. Throw it in there. And it's added it right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and save the layout. So as you can see that I have the same card set at the top and the bottom as well, but it's pulling the same information. So if I change it at one place, it does it for both places. And then of course, if I go to somebody else's page, I'm going to use this Tomek one here as an example. I'm going to go to layout. And I can go ahead and add it into this block here as well. My cool card set. Add it in there. And then, of course, I'm going to go here and save this. And then one last thing I want to show you guys. So it's simple enough to kind of add in that piece of information, this visual card set that I could use, have it on multiple pages. But in case I need to edit something, say I'm on a page, and then say, oh, instead of this picture, I wanted to use something else. So if I click on it, I click on it from any page that I see it at and click edit, it'll bring me back to this particular page where I can edit it. And let's just get rid of this image. add media, and I will throw in a different image of the brownies. Let's go with, I'm not sure if I use this one or not, but I'm gonna click on this one. Save it. So now that changed it for this one. And if I go back to my cool page, you'll see it is changed there. And it's also changed at the bottom as well. Anybody have any questions on the reusable blocks?
Not on reusable blocks, but those links that you put in for those pictures to get to that area, are you clicking on the picture or are you clicking on learn more?
Sorry, to get to the links that are on the individual cards, or are you talking about to get back to edit
On the cards, yeah.
To get back to edit?
No, on the cards. Like, I guess I'm not understanding the whole point of cards. Like, does the image link you, or do you click learn more for it to work?
Both. Yeah. You can either click on the image itself and it will take you. So this one right here, the card one was go to the about. So if I click on that, it will take me to the about page, but it can also click on the actual button itself to learn more, and it will take me to the about page.
That's what I want to do then. Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions on this? Okay. So that leads us off to our next exercise here. So I want everybody to go in. You guys are all going to create your own reusable block. It doesn't have to be a card set. It could be whatever it is. So I want you guys to go to structure, to go to block layout, and then go to that custom block library. Once you're on the custom block library, you're going to click on the button that's at the top right corner. It says add custom block. I put here select a text with image, which you can do whatever it is that you want. But if you do select a text with image, give it a title. There's something that's going to be relevant, just like we did with the My Cool card set, so we can easily find it. Fill out all the fields that you need for that particular block you're creating. So for the text image, you just make sure you add the image, you're going to add the text, and then you're going to save the block. Once you have saved the block, go to the content overview page. This will just allow you to go back and find your page quickly. Click on that. Then you're on your page. Go to the layout view and then place that block, that reusable block you created, and put it onto your page. I'll give everybody about like 10 minutes to do so. Let me know if you guys have any questions. All right. Does anybody have any questions so far?
And you want to add the block back to the page we're working on?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now that you guys have been playing around, I'm going to switch back over to the site. And again, if you guys have any questions on anything, don't hesitate to ask. So I'm going to back to my cool page. And I am going to go to layout. I'm just going to select some random reusable block that one of you guys may have created. So let's take a look here. I'm in the layout section. I'm going to add in that block here. I'm going to scroll down to that custom section. So again, in case you don't remember exactly what it was called, you can obviously just go down to that custom section so you can see all of your custom blocks that you've created. For this one, I am going to select Dima. Select this one. It's a video block. I'm going to add that block here. So for that, obviously, this throws in that YouTube video that's here. I'm going to go up and just click Save Layout. So in case you wanted to use this video on different sections of the site itself, you have the ability to do that. So here's that embedded YouTube video. And now I put it onto my page. But you can see how simple it is to, while other people have created stuff that you can use, you can definitely reuse those things and put it onto your pages as well. But does anybody have any questions on anything that we've gone over so far?
Yeah, so I wasn't quite done with mine, and I'm on the configure block. Like, I've saved it to status message, you know, card set, create it. But then it shows like my block description and a whole bunch of other things like content type, vocab, web form, pages. What do I do after that point?
Yeah, so you said that, all right, so you created your custom block already, right? Your reusable block. Okay, so and once you go back to the content overview page, so in here, when I was... it
didn't take me there. I'm on configure block again.
Oh, you're on configure block again?
I feel like I saved my block and it took me to something called configure.
Yeah, in case you do get thrown somewhere else, you can always go back. If you just hover over to the left side, go to structure, block layout, and then custom block library. Should take you back to the library of stuff, and you should see the one that you created is in there.
Okay. So it does look like I created it. Oh, that's weird. I don't know what I'm looking at then.
Wow. So, so then once that's created, you can obviously just navigate back to your page. You could do it through the content overview of the admin menu, or you go back to the home page and then just find it under my cool page where you have it. And then you can go there and edit it.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, so now that we've been kind of playing around with this, obviously I've added in a lot of content. My page is a little messy. I do want to clean some stuff up. Everything looks a little bit too close to each other, and I want to improve upon that. So what I want to do here and what I want to go over is how to kind of play around a little bit with the stylization of your layouts that you've been working on. So when I click on layout, obviously I'm brought to my layout builder that we've been playing around with. For this layout builder, what you're able to do is that if I were to click on a section in particular that I'm working on, so let's say for this top section here, where it has all these it has these card set, the YouTube video and things. If I click on configure section 2, this will pull up this side navigation. You might have seen it before, where obviously we were adding in, do we want gutters? Do we want it to be edge to edge? What does it look like on desktop, mobile, tablet, so on and so forth? It brings up that configuration again. So you can always go back to change what it looks like by bringing it up to clicking on that configure that particular section. One thing I want you guys to take note of, instead of just the stuff that we've been taking a look at, that container layout, what we want to do here is take a look at these tabs up here. We have style and we have settings. Settings is more going to be if you have some knowledge of adding classes, what those classes, where you want them specifically to be, what column you want them to be, what row you want them to be in. You're able to do those things here. You can add in those classes, and then you can go into your CSS to do what you need to do to configure it to look exactly how you want to. But that's a whole nother class that we could provide to kind of explain that a little bit more in detail. So you don't have to worry too much about that. What I do want everybody to take a look at is this style section that's here. It's a tool that you're able to kind of do some stuff along with it pretty easily. So for this section in particular, what you can do is that you can do things as far as change the background of what this region or what this section looks like. You can choose the typography. Do you want the text to be white? Do you want it to be black? Do you want it to be aligned? Do you want it to be aligned centered, left, right? There's some things that you can go ahead and play around with. For this one, I'm just going to leave blank. And then you have a spacing section here. So for spacing, you can add padding, or you can add some white space to the top of things, to the bottom, to the left, right. And that's what I want to do for this particular section. So for this one, you have your padding, you have your margins. There's differences between the two, but right now we just want to focus on just the padding itself. I don't want to do a padding on all sides, and I'll show you why here in a second. Actually, I'll show you here as an example. So I'm going to add in 64 to all sides. You're able to just narrow it down to what do you want it to be on the left, what do you want it to be on top, left, right, or bottom. So that padding is creating some white space around this region of content that I put in here. So I selected all and I put 64. Fine with that. I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to go over border animation here in a second, and I'm going to click update. So now that I've updated, it adds some white space around the sides. So I am going to click save. And I will scroll down. And it's kind of hard to see, but it does add some padding to the bottom where it puts some white space in between here, just so to give it a little bit of breathing room. If we wanted to start narrowing this down to just maybe one particular block, we're going to be adding a feature that just allows you to do it on a block level rather than on a section level. But right now we have it on section level, so there's some things that we can do here. So I am going to jump back up to layout. That padding all actually didn't take an effect that I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to add a little bit more white space in here to the left and right. And then it was going to make things not aligned, but it didn't seem to do that. So we might have something to make sure that doesn't happen, which is a good thing. So, but you have the ability to kind of add some padding there to your site. So what I want to do here is that I want to add in a section for that video. I'm just going to add in a one column, and we're going to add in that section. I'm going to move this video down. So it's in there. I'm going to save my layout. Should be good. So as you can see here, it has moved to its own region. Still looks similar to what I had, but you can see here, it's a little bit tight. I want to add some spacing in between there. So I can go ahead, go back to my layout, go to that section that this individual block is on, click on that, and I will add some padding again. want to add it to the bottom, 64 pixels at the bottom, update it, save my layout. And now I have added some white space in between here and then the next section itself. So as you can see, some of these things, you're able to kind of add in that extra padding in case things start to be really close to each other. It gives you some room to kind of wiggle around, play around with. It doesn't have to be 64. Personally, I think that 64 pixel padding in between each individual section of content makes it look nice, but you can go down to 32. There's different levels that you can play around with. You just have to move along that slider to exactly where you want it to be. So I'm going to go back to this section. One thing I do want to do is to, for this video, I want to add in a background color to it. So in that background section, I'm able to add in these various colors. We have just some basic primary colors that are here, green, yellow, and red. And then we have a light kind of gray that's here. You'll see these other two backgrounds that don't have a color in it. There is some color along with it. I'm going to select the first one. And this is based off of what theme color choice that you guys have. It will change depending on what that is, which is why they're blank, but we do want to update that to make it so you can actually see what color you're choosing. So I'm familiar with what exactly this color is, so I'm going to choose this one and scroll down, and for this section, I want to add in some padding to the top as well. Put 64 and then update it. Save the layout. And as you can see here, it added in this light cobalt look that's here for the background of this individual page. So as you can see here, the padding's a little bit more pronounced, as you kind of see. You can see the top and bottom of things. And then you will notice that when you start adding colors, those regions will start to feel a lot more tight right on top of each other. But obviously, we can fix that by adding some padding in there for those ones as well. So if I go back to the layout, go to the section below it, so configure section 4, I am going to add in some padding. 64 to keep it consistent. Other stuff, adds it on there. Save layout. And as you can see here, it has added some white space, so it's not just right at the border of that region. Anybody have any questions on this?
Okay, first, that is awesome. I was trying to figure out how to get the color, so that's fantastic. Not about what you just talked about. I do have a question about how you got a YouTube video in there later, though.
Okay. Yeah, there's a block. If you select on the, like you're doing just a regular block, or you can create a reusable block, which is what this one was. But if you're adding a block of content into a page, so if I'm adding a block here and go to create custom block, there is a video block right here at the bottom. So if I click on that, it allows you to add a video. So I'll add in media here. You can either do a remote video by adding in the URL. So if you had a YouTube video, just throw in the YouTube video in there and then click add, and it'll add it onto your library of stuff that you could just select from. You could also, if you had a video file that you want to upload to the website, you can do that as well and put that in here. However, we don't really recommend that. You can if you need to, because I know that there are some agencies who have trouble getting into YouTube, but YouTube is such a useful tool with that. And it also stores the data off of your server, so you don't have to deal with any kind of slowdown as far as backups or anything like that. You want to link it to YouTube, and also YouTube has great accessibility on there, accessibility tools that you can use for your videos that you have on there. But yeah, you would want to add in the remote the video there. So once you do that, it will be available in your library. You just select which one you want, and then you insert it, and then you can add that block.
Vince, if you remote video and all of a sudden everybody's like, let's say maybe 10, 15 people see the video all at once, would that crash the site?
No, it shouldn't. No.
Okay.
If it did, I think we would have bigger problems. But again, you should be good.
Yeah, because it's not a streaming server, right?
Yeah, it's just streaming it. Yeah, it's just basically throwing in an embed, so it's streaming it off of YouTube server. So the only thing that will affect it, basically, at this point, will be if you're on the site. It's just going to be how fast is your internet and streaming it. So
okay.
So that configure, if you go back to that like configure, manage attributes that you were just on a minute ago.
mm-hmm.
So if you hit configure, that just takes you back to the edit. Oh, no, like you were hovering over it for that section before.
Sorry, I just want to make sure. So are you talking about this configure, this button that's right here?
It was like in the right-hand corner of the YouTube video. Like you had it hovering and it was like configure app. Yeah, that thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this one, this is when you're in the block layout, this configure is meaning you want to edit those particular blocks that you created. So this might be a better example because the video block is just a video block. I won't be able to edit anything in there because it's a reusable one. But this one in particular, because I added it onto this page and I want to edit something that's here, if I go to configure, it'll bring back up that edit menu. So I could just say if I want to get rid of a paragraph here and then update it, that's where you kind of go, those configures, those little pencil icons that pop up. You want to click on that and then go to configure. Or sometimes it will say edit. You want to go to edit.
So what
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the managed attributes. Then what is that for that? Is that like where you change the colors again? Like where we just were?
The attributes on an individual block will be, that's like where you add those classes. That's where I was talking about. It gets a little bit more advanced on there. So you can ignore that. If you want to change the color, you do it on a section basis. That's where you click on section, this configure section here to the left-hand corner. You click on that, and that's where you want to go to add in those colors and everything.
Thank you.
The last thing I want to show here, and it could be it's one of those things that either it can look nice or it can look bad, depending on how you do it. So under the styles, there's an animation section. So there's a lot of pre-built animation that you can use for individual sections of your site. Again, they can make your site look nice, or they can make your site look a little bit cheap and kind of not look the greatest. So just be careful when you're using this. One thing I do recommend, like one of the ones that I do like, is just this fade up animation. It's the first one that's there. If I select it, it adds in an animation for the entire section itself. So just remember that. So if there was multiple blocks, it's going to do it for all of the blocks that are in there. It's going to take the whole section and it's going to add in that fade up animation. We're going to be releasing something soon where you're going to have the ability to add in, or you can do it on individual blocks to have it fade in or do a certain kind of animation and have it be separate from everything else. But for now, what we do is that we have it for an entire section itself. The fade up is a very nice, subtle animation that can make your site look, have a nice touch to your site. So I'm going to add that on here, and I am going to save it, and I'll show you what it looks like. So somebody comes to my page here, things loaded up. If I scroll down, you guys will notice that there's a little bit of a fade that comes up once I get to that particular section. It will do it every time I scroll down. So when that section is off, it resets it. So when I scroll down, it adds it back in there. Just adds a nice little subtle animation, kind of gives your site kind of a little bit of a adds a little bit of an animation, kind of gives it a different look and feel of things. So it makes it feel a little bit more premium depending on how you do it. Now, if I were to do something crazy like have it spin in, it can kind of look a little bit bad and kind of look like one of those old school PowerPoint presentations where people put on those crazy animations in between each slide. So just be careful when you're using that, but it can add some value, or add some value for your site for sure. Any questions on that? Okay, we are approaching time. Do you want to go in? We have, I want you guys to kind of start getting a little bit creative. So definitely with the landing page that you have now, add color to one of the sections, and then add 3 different custom blocks in different areas, add some spacing to those sections to kind of space things out. So go ahead and start kind of playing around with it. I do want to show you something else that's kind of cool. I'm still discovering some stuff that you can do with individual pages, but I will pull up some other stuff. I will kind of go through different things that you can do if you can get creative with those colors, those animations and everything. I'll show you what you can do. So follow along or kind of go on your own, play around with it. But let me know if anybody has any questions as you guys are doing it.
I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to add an image to the library, and I'm stuck where I'm not sure what I should be selecting. Should I put, so there's a show and media library thing, and then there's a published one. And I'm not sure, maybe I should just screenshot this and send it to you so you understand what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you're talking about. So
do you? Yeah. What do we select to use?
You can just leave it whatever the default was. The show and media library was something that was kind of an old feature that kind of hung around there, so that just needs to be removed. That doesn't do anything whether you select it or don't select it, but just kind of keep those things as the default. You don't have to worry about it. But before if you're having trouble, you're trying to add in the image that's not letting you, make sure that you have the crops each selected for each of those crops that are in there. There should be about 4 crops you have to do. So it's kind of forcing you to do those before you move on.
Yeah, so I'm actually getting that now. Error message, card, teaser crop, slideshow page, image crop, banner crop, like all of those.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. It didn't show up before. That's so weird. Okay.
Yeah, so if you select on one of the crops, like I think banner crop is one of them. So if you select on banner crop, click on the image, so it will apply the crop. So it doesn't apply it automatically. You have to go into each crop to make sure it applies and to make sure it looks good. So regardless if you're going to use it for a banner or not, it will set those things in. So in case later you do come back, you're like, you know what, I do want to use this as a banner. The crop already be there. You don't have to do it again. So. As we're doing that, another thing I kind of want to show you guys here is that, you might look at some of those regions and then wondering, or some of those colors, like, why would anybody use red? There's some things that you can do along with that. If you wanted to make something a little bit more alert. So I'm going to create a different section in here. I want the background to be red. And then because it's red, I'm going to make sure that typography, I'm going to have the color be white. And then I'm going to center the text that's in there. I'll have it fade up, add a little bit of animation in there. And then I do want to create some spacing. Let's add 64 and add this section. So this puts in this red section that's in here, a little bit bright. You could run into some accessibility issues, but just kind of showing you an example of what you guys can do. I'm going to create a custom block here. It's just going to be a basic block. Let's move this to full HTML. And I'm going to say this is an important section. So I'm going to highlight this. I am going to say that this is an H1. I can center it down here, but I'm going to leave it as the default. Make sure that these are all capitalized. Then I am going to add the block in here. So one thing that we will be fixing, it adds this automatic white background to all of the different block sections. We're going to fix that because it does kind of break it a little bit when you add the color and stuff in there. And I have a white text, so I can't actually see what I put in there, but it's there. So I'm just going to go ahead and click save so I can see what it looks like. So on save layout, I'm going to scroll down. There's my image, there's my video, scroll down some more, and then here's my important section. So as you can kind of see, even though this is a really bright red kind of section, there's things that you can do to, you know, if you want to have some kind of call to action banner thing that's here, you can throw in a button, you can throw in whatever you feel is going to be necessary for this particular section. And it is making all the text white, so it makes it easier to read than it would be if it was black. But you can kind of see here what you can kind of do with those colors themselves. Now, and obviously it adds in that animation that goes along with it. Then there's other things that you can do here, like, for example, in this layout, I'm going to remove this banner block that I created. There's kind of different ways that you can go about doing, how do you want to create that banner? So I'm going to remove this. Obviously, banner block is going to be the easiest way to kind of do that thing, but there's something you could do here. So for this particular section, I'm going to add in a block. I am going to do like what I just did here below that. I am going to, let's do a, I am going to do a banner. I want to do a text with image. So in the body, I'm throwing some information in here. That's fine there. Make sure this is bold. I'm going to add in an image here. So for this image, I have uploaded previously a PNG. So for those of you who know a little bit about how to kind of mess with graphics, I have this PNG that has a transparent background. I'm going to upload that to use for this banner that I'm creating. It's kind of a custom banner itself. And it's going to be side by side with the text. So I'm just going to insert that. So it adds in this PNG with a transparent background. View mode. Let's just do full, and I'll just do save it. So now in this top region, it has added in this PNG and then the text side by side with each other. The background is still just a blank background, but if I select this and I want to add in an image, you can even add in video, but things could get definitely test it out, play around with things. But what I want to do is I want to add in an image. So I'll add media, and I will select, let's do this top one. Actually, let's do, I want to do, I will add in this one, but that. I'm a little bit darker. Select. Don't want it to repeat. There's things you can do here. You can have repeat so it tiles, but I just want it to be one single image. And then I want it to be fixed. So I'll show you what fixed does here in a second. The size, I'm going to just have it be auto. Now we'll update it. So for that, you can see here, actually, I need to fix something here. Never mind, did not want to do auto, I'll do cover. Update it. So you kind of see behind it, you can see the image itself. And obviously, like I said, we have this white that we're going to be fixing here. So you can actually see when you do add some background image, but I'm going to go ahead and click save here. That's just for the layout builder. So when I click save, it loads this picture. It has the background, so it's a banner, but it's a little bit has that modern kind of look and feel if you want that for your site in particular. Or when I scroll, it keeps the image still and kind of gives it that parallax, what they call that parallax effect, to be able to do that. And you could do that with whatever section you want. So if you have multiple images that you want to do that have that look where it has that parallax feel, you could do that as well. So there's something that I've been playing around with. Obviously, it's kind of hard to see what this text is saying. So you can always kind of go back in there, and under that style section, you can change all text to be white. So I will do that here. Typography, have it be white. I'll throw even an animation in here, the fade up again, update it. Save the layout. And here it is. And not the best, but I just kind of showing you as an example of kind of what you can kind of do. And then there's different effects, obviously, that come along with it by just having that. Oh, it stopped it. Actually, that's interesting. I think it's because of the other effect that's on top of it. Probably broke it a little bit. I might fix that then. Take that off. Yeah, looks like that animation broke it. But you see there's a parallax effect that's there. And you can do that with just different sections of the site. Or keep this simple. I'm just going to change this to a color. So it looks nicer. So if I click on that, go back, don't want the background image, going to go with the color instead. Choose this one, put this back to black, and update it. Save it. And there it is. Just a different type of banner that you can do. It's using a different type of block. And there's some cool things that you can go along and do with it. Any questions on any of the stuff that we've been going over as far as all the style stuff for your layouts?
Yeah, thank you for showing that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. It is overtime. So thanks everybody for kind of sticking around. Let's go back to here. Of course, you'll still have access to that training site. So if you guys want to play around with it, even after the training's done, you go ahead and do it. Our next training is going to be October 12th. We're just going to be going back to the basic stuff. So it's kind of that first training again. So if you guys want to kind of go back, brush up on some of the basics, definitely attend that meeting. But let me know. Does anybody have any questions on anything?
Hi, this is Dilesh. So on the styles that you put on there, like sidebar and that stuff, do you have a list of which style, what is mean, or we just need to figure it out?
When you say a list of styles, are you talking about the animations?
No, I remember one on, because I deleted the menu, then I wanted to put it back, and you said when you put back, sometime it messes the style, then you put the style on there. So I was wondering if there is anything like a list of sidebar means the style for the menu.
Yeah, I will. We don't have a list yet. That's more of a bug thing we want to fix for people. We want people to have to put in certain classes in order for things to work. We do have some style stuff that, for more advanced users who do want to take advantage of those type of things. We'll have to put together a list for you guys to kind of be able to do those, to kind of play around with certain things.
Yeah, it's not important. I thought something is already there. It's not. I don't want to spend time on something like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and in case if you guys are taking a look at that training spot, it's also going to be on our new website that we're currently developing. But Under that landing page section of that training website, if you guys click on available components, that goes through and kind of shows all the different blocks. What do they look like? Alternate views of those blocks. So if you had any questions on any of those, be like, hey, how do I get this look? We could definitely help you achieve that and tell you which block it is and kind of how you go about doing that. But there's different examples of things in there that you can take advantage of. So, but definitely let me know if you have any questions on any of that.
Random question. Is it okay if we go into this training? Is it okay if we go into the training site and just kind of mess around a little bit and practice some things? Is that okay then?
Yeah, that's okay. Just expect it at, I usually delete content out just right before the next training. So in case you are working on something, just expect it to be deleted. So.
Totally good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you, everybody. Thomas, Allison, I don't know if you guys still want to stick around. You guys have any questions on your sites in particular. But if anybody has any questions on their sites in particular, I'll definitely be sticking around to kind of answer those. But thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Vincent. Everyone, bye.
Sorry. Thank you. I think you answered